Hi, welcome to I've Never Met a Woman Architect Before podcast with Michelle Grace Hottel, architect. And I'm here today with Shawna Glazier and Brittainy Williamson of beSpoke Real Estate. This episode is brought to you by the Synthetic Grass Store. Is a local family-owned turf wholesale company. We specialize in selling premium quality artificial grass, and we offer architects deliver turf with both residential and commercial projects. Also by Arizona Turf Masters, our sister company specializing in landscaping design services such as hardscape, xeriscape, turf installation, and putting green installation services.
Always good to have connections to the turf world.
Yes. beSpoke Real Estate was founded by broker owner Shawna Glazier in 2015. beSpoke Real Estate stands out from other Arizona real estate brokerages by offering clients a unique real estate experience. The core values of beSpoke are a passion for architecture, a love of interior design, expert knowledge of all aspects of Arizona real estate, and an unparalleled level of excellent client service. It is their goal at beSpoke to work hand in hand with each client to ensure their satisfaction. Every individual and family receives the time, attention, research, and focus they deserve while making such a big decision. Every transaction is different. At beSpoke Real Estate, there is no cookie cutter approach. The details and intricacies of each situation are handled with the utmost care and expertise from beginning to end. Each and every one of their clients receives a tailored real estate experience. So, Shawna, you first. What are your first recollections of experiencing architecture?
Such a good question. Yeah. Well, first, thanks for having us on. This is my first
Thank you.
podcast. I've never been interviewed on podcasts. Have you?
No.
No.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
We've done a lot of interviewing at this point, but never been on the other side of this.
Yeah. So, I'm not an architect, right? I specialize in real estate. We're introduced to architecture in real estate school. We have to learn the different types of architecture to put into our listing service on how to explain a property. But really, I started experiencing architecture for the first time with my ex-husband. Is a very talented, brilliant architect and builder, and owns a very prominent design build firm. And we were together 12 years, and I got to work side by side with him. And we'd be out at a site, just a piece of dirt that his clients had purchased, and I got to watch him look at the site and figure out where the sun is and how it's going to relate to the site, and watch him frame, windows around, the house isn't even vertical. This is just dirt, and he's already working on framing a window around a mountain or a saguaro or just something. And so it was really profound in my career to be able to work side by side with him. And, then it goes on from just identifying materials for the site, working with the client. So I think just working side by side with an architect for that long really showed me what architecture was. And then also, we get our clients all the time. We specialize in modern architecture, and we have clients saying, I just want a simple house, a very minimalistic, simple, clean cut, and simple, right? And in that word, what I realized is to get a house that looks simple, it's almost the hardest type of architecture there is.
Yeah.
Because there's so much work and craft behind what an architect does to make it look simple. It's like if you want to put in all these columns and all these details, you can hide certain things that you can't when you want this clean-cut, minimalistic type of architecture. So, yeah, I guess being introduced to architecture about a decade and a half ago through my ex-husband, and working side by side with him for a long time.
Yeah, and they do great work, the construction zone. I'll just put a plug in for his life.
Of course.
Let's do it, yeah.
Yeah. Brittainy, what are your first recollections of experiencing architecture?
So my first recollection of architecture was my grandparents' house. And not just because it was my grandparents' house, but it was built in the early 60s. They hired an architect that had trained with E88 Jones, who trained with Frank Lloyd Wright. Their house was made of very natural materials, stone from the state of Arkansas. What at the time was essentially Florida glass windows, very kind of low ranch style modern, and brought in some black slate flooring. And it was just very different than any other house I'd ever been in. so comfortable for me, but other people, from the outside look at it like, oh, that's kind of weird to be here in this little small farming town. But my grandmother really appreciated modern architecture. She was a big fan. And it's funny because as simple as it is, she was like a flashy person, but her house was very simple and very natural and organic. And so that was my first, kind of intro into architecture. They had some very cool, they had light coves in their house that hid their lights. All of their door frames and everything were like millwork, like they weren't just normal door frames. And just some of the materials that they used in their house were really cool.
I want to see this house. You have to show me some pictures.
I know. I feel like it doesn't show as well in pictures. You can come back and visit. My uncle lives there.
Oh, does he? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good. A reason to
And
go to
then,
Arkansas.
and then where was it? And what did you say that somebody said that is that a, what did they say?
So it's in a tiny little farming town called England, Arkansas, just southeast of Little Rock. And people people drive by and like, is that a sanitarium? Or like, is it a doctor's office or a house? I mean, and I think that modern architecture sometimes gets that, right? Like, is that a commercial building or, or a house? And for it to be built at the time that it was, when everything else kind of looked alike and everything was either craftsman or just kind of, older styles.
Yeah.
For them to bring that into this tiny little farming community. And it was a large house. It was like almost 6,000 square feet. So, they had 5 kids and had to house all those kids. Originally, they had concrete floors. And so everybody apparently learned to roller skate in their house. They eventually, when my mom was in college, had a designer come in. And so most of the interior design was done in the 70s. And so they had somebody come in and actually put carpeting in on the concrete floors.
No more roller skating.
No more roller skating. But yeah, we learned how to ride a unicycle up and down the hallway to the bedrooms. All of us.
Wait.
I can't ride a unicycle like you.
You can ride a unicycle though?
No, not very well.
Uh-oh.
We're holding onto a wall.
Did you hear this, Ellen? I just got a new content idea for us.
Yeah.
The next podcast.
I know, right? Yeah, we were pretty much allowed to do anything in their house, which was great.
So, Shawna, what 3 classic buildings do you like and why?
Wow, it's funny.
And it's
I
classic,
know.
not classical, but yeah. What iconic buildings do you like?
Well, it recently just came to the top of my list is a Frank Lloyd Wright, which I know it's like, is it cliche to say that there's a Frank Lloyd Wright? Because I just feel he's such a pioneer that every architect we represent is influenced by him in some way and everything that we see. So when I get to experience a Frank Lloyd Wright house, I get all these pieces of the other architects that we're working with. And just a couple months ago, my son and I went to Pennsylvania on a mother-son trip. He's really into Frank Lloyd Wright as well, so it's really special. So we wanted to go see Falling Waters, obviously the most iconic property that Frank Lloyd Wright has done. And we saw it, it was amazing. And my uncle mentioned, he's like, hey, there's this other property, Kentuck Knob, that you have to go see. It's a private residence. And I wasn't going to go see it. And my son's like, Mom, I'd rather do that than I had these other museums lined up for us. I was like, okay. So we went and saw it. So it's a private residence. It's, I think, one of his latest properties that he did. Beautiful cantilevered. And the owners graciously let people tour their home. Like, they still live there.
That's amazing.
It is absolutely amazing. We had this private tour. There was one other couple with us. And just the way that the indoor-outdoor flows, too, their art collection was amazing. But then even just the sculptures, they have these amazing, like, Harry Batoya, they have part of the Berlin Wall.
Yeah.
So the art, the architecture, I guess it really becomes one of my favorite just because of the experience altogether with my son and being able to experience that together.
Yeah.
It reminds me, honestly, a second one up there is the Price Residence, which is the Schuin family now, the U-Haul family, which I know that you've toured. And Brittainy and I also got a private tour of that. And that's here local in Paradise Valley. It's 9 acres. That's been just meticulously maintained. I mean, we've toured a lot of Frank Lloyd Wright stuff, and when it's open to the public, it's just been used, right? And to walk into certain structures that have been so maintained, meticulous, like they have the same quilts, the original quilts and original carpet, like it's just, it was a special experience. So
I love the way that house kind of like steps down the slope, and then it's this indoor-outdoor. You know, it's like getting from the upper
Primary
rooms
suites,
to the
yeah.
lower rooms. Yeah.
It's almost going with the grade of the slope
Yes,
there.
exactly. So it's like we're not moving dirt around to like, to put a flat pad and put, this is actually going with the earth, which, was one of the founding principles of the organic architecture movement.
Yeah, you see that a lot at Taliesin West too. It does the same thing in those little steps. Little steps. Yeah.
Yeah, so they have some pictures of it up here. This is
yeah.
the Kentuck Knob.
I can't
property
believe that
we
people still
toured.
live there and let people tour it.
And the owner actually, unfortunately, he didn't stop by on our tour, but I guess he stops by every once in a while. He walks his dog and will come by and he'll talk to the people. I was like hoping that he would come by so we could chat with him. And they're the second owners of this property. The original owners were friends with the owners at Falling Waters, and we're touring it. And they're like, we have to have a house by Frank Lloyd Wright, and so they hired Frank Lloyd Wright, built it, and then they sold it to the current owner. Which is a company or a couple from, I think, London, right?
I don't know.
Art, huge art collectors. So,
Okay.
What
yeah,
good stewards though to know and have that awareness of what you have and to share it with
to
other
share
people.
it's generous.
Yeah.
It is the definition of being generous. Of
Yeah.
sharing your art with other people.
Yeah. So are there any other,
I mean, my grandma's house.
your grandma's?
It's not architecturally significant, but it is my favorite place to go to. I mean, it's where my mom and her brothers were raised, and where my sisters and I and all my cousins spend every summer and holiday. And so, yeah, it's more nostalgic.
And
less
is that in
architecture.
Ohio?
It is in Ohio. Yeah.
Okay.
Fremont, Ohio. It's just south of Sandusky.
Okay.
Yeah. So I go back multiple times each year.
Okay. And are there any other ones or?
No, those stand
Guys.
out. I'll let Brittany
Okay.
take a turn.
Okay.
Yeah, we had kind of talked about, because we had an idea of what you might ask us. My favorite piece of architecture is in Arkansas. It's Thorn Crown Chapel, just outside of Eureka Springs. I wanted to get married there so very badly, but I have a huge family in Arkansas, and my family did not fit. My husband would have been fine getting married there, but it's very cool. A gentleman, Jim Reed from Pine Bluff, which is my hometown, commissioned it and had Ife Jones design it. And it's an incredible experience, and it looks different depending on what time of year you go, what time of day you go. It just makes you feel close to God, which I think is what the whole purpose of it was.
Yeah.
so
It's a
yeah.
beautiful space.
Yeah,
It's a beautiful space.
I'm just floored that you've actually been there, because it is in the middle of nowhere.
Well, my mom and my stepdad kind of live in the middle of nowhere. They're like outside of Joplin, Missouri, so it's really just
it's
like
not
going
far from Joplin. Okay, that makes so much more sense now.
What's the capacity there?
Yeah, so we went down to Crystal Bridges, and then everybody was saying, "Oh, you should stop by the chapel." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm totally." So we stopped by the chapel, and yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to look. I mean, I think we had almost 200 people on our guest list, and
Yeah.
it was too many.
It's
I think it's
stunning.
closer to 100. Or even smaller, 80 maybe. It's pretty small,
It's stunning.
but it's gorgeous
Yeah.
for sure. And the at Taliesin West, when we walk in where they do the plays and stuff, it's something about it reminds me of Thorn Crown. Just the flooring,
Towards the end
Yeah.
of the tour?
yeah, towards the end of the
Theater,
tour,
yeah.
the theater. So yeah, that one is my favorite for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what do you like about being a realtor and helping architects or helping the field of architecture?
Good question. Is this like you're collaborating, like how we collaborate with them
Yeah.
and help them?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I'd
know
say
you're involved
they-
in a lot. You're involved with a lot of architects that
Yeah.
have some really, highly publicized and.
I mean,
work.
they're definitely helping us. I don't know if we're helping them at all. We are creating a platform with our podcast to interview lots of different architects that we can put their personality and their work out on a platform that maybe potential clients can see them. So maybe, hopefully, that helps them in a way. But
Yeah.
as far as like collaborating and how they're helping us, I mean, architects are so good at telling stories. Like everything they do is a story and has intention. And whether that's like intention with the sun and the site and how the light gets into the property, or how the spaces communicate and transition, or how the indoor and outdoor communicate with each other. They're creating this story, and that gives us the ability, if we get to represent a property like that, which is not all the time, but if we're lucky enough to represent these architects' properties, we get to then introduce these properties to buyers, and it's less about us selling a property to somebody, and it's more about introducing the buyer to a piece of art that they actually get to live in. So it's very exciting. It's my passion is selling this type of architecture. It's exciting, and honestly, it's more meaningful when we get to sell something like that. So that's kind of how we collaborate with them.
It is, and we typically have the clientele that will take care of, because these, great architecture does require maintenance.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And like the Showens have done a great job with the Price House maintaining it. Some of the other, we visited some other Frank Lloyd Wrights around here that maybe aren't as well maintained because they don't have people caring for them like that house does. And our clients really do, they appreciate it. They seek out good architecture, and to be able to have the connections with the architects that we have, even if somebody buys a house and the architect isn't around anymore, we can hopefully connect them with somebody that can help them maintain it or add to it or whatever they want to do to it. That's going to honor the original, intent behind it, or make it better in some way.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I always say that, like artists have an agent, that will sell their art. And I think that architects, it's like we'll do the work, but maybe we're not the best sellers of our own work or something. And so I think it's great that, you are those agents.
It's the first thing I ask when I walk into any new listing. I'm like, who's the design build team? And I'm shocked that the majority of the homes I walk into, the people don't know, or even the owners don't know who the design build team is. And that's where we start, at least our firm starts with who is the design build team, knowing that name. It's like the brand. It's the brand of car you're buying. Like we need to know who's working on your property to be able to sell it. So
Yeah,
it brings value.
Yes.
definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So what would you like to say about the future of real estate and architecture?
A lot.
I think architecture is very important. I know we see people, like I mentioned, that are specifically seeking out something unique. There is a trend in architecture, it seems to be, even in the semi-custom kind of area right now, there seems to be a trend back towards modern architecture, which has been great for us to see. Although I don't know that you can call all of it architecture, kind of like Eddie Jones said, just because it's square doesn't mean it's architecture. But I do think, I know that with the properties that we have sold, and that we are interested in, even like people want something unique. They don't want something that everybody else has. And if it's maintained well and presented correctly, even if it was custom built for somebody else, somebody new can take it over and it can be special to them too. So I do think it's important. I like to see more of it. I like to see more of it, on a grander scale. Actually, good architecture for these tract neighborhoods would be amazing to see.
Yeah. Yeah, and as far as like design, I think we're seeing a lot more with like health and wellness. So integrating a lot more of that into architecture is important. In sustainability too, the footprint is really important. And those are all things that the more that the architecture world grabs onto and embraces, the easier it is for the real estate world to sell, because that's the demand we're seeing and wanting. So those two things mixing together.
And so sustainability as far as like the size and the size of the home.
The energy,
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Yeah, the materiality. We're seeing a lot of, people want materials that are going to last. So
Yeah. And like bigger or smaller? Is there a trend towards smaller?
Oh, it's changed. I mean, so pre-COVID,
Yeah.
we wanted these mega tech, and we're talking because we specialize in the luxury market, right? So Paradise Valley, Scottsdale, you wanted these giant homes with well, I'm sorry. It was that pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And then right before COVID, it started going more lock and leave, and people were wanting more like 5,000 to 6,000 square foot was more the sweet spot. Then during COVID, it went back to people wanting the double offices, people wanting the theater in their home because they weren't going anywhere. And now I feel like we're shrinking again.
I do feel like it's contracting.
We're shrinking, and we're seeing not these big, open, living, dining, great rooms. We're seeing people want not the giant 20-foot ceilings. We want to bring it down, or having the material as like a floating oak ceiling or something that brings it down, makes it more intimate.
Yeah, more intimate spaces.
And maybe not separate dining, living, great kitchen rooms, but maybe dividers or furniture.
At least identified spaces.
Yeah, gives it a little bit more intimacy in each of those areas we're seeing.
Yeah, kind of more of those traditional spaces.
Sunken living rooms.
They are coming back. They're coming back.
They are back.
I know.
They do identify the space. That's for sure.
The ankle breakers.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was like saying, well, they're not very accessible, but there was somebody on one of the real estate sites that get all mad at me because I said it wasn't accessible. They were like, what?
I think as long as they
point,
put it where you don't have to use it. So if it's a room that you don't have to use, I get, making it a little bit different. It's when you have to, people are forced to go through it.
Yeah.
Or to go downstairs into their bedroom. Like that's when it becomes very.
So there's a way to thoughtfully and purposely
Yes.
add it into a home. And then also another point is add it into the home, but from the real estate perspective, be able to fill it in where you don't have to redo the doors and the windows, right? So if in the future, when the trend is no longer a trend, we can fill it in and it's not a giant replacing everything, you just have to fill it in is key.
Yeah, more versatile spaces. Yeah, with that. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Shawna. Thank you, Brittainy. And thank you for having me on your podcast also. And thank you to the Synthetic Grass Store and Arizona Turf Masters. And thanks for just letting, this is a great space to have a podcast in. So thank you.
Well, this is such a treat. It really was. Thank you. Thanks for having us on.
I like being on the other side.
Yeah.
You do? Okay, that's good.
I don't. I want to go back to asking the questions.
Oh, okay. Thanks.